Hey gang, it's JC, and this is the Daily Dose for Thursday, September 22nd, 2011, a combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Redwood. We have some great television archives at the top of the page. There's something new coming. I'm going to explain that here in just a minute. And then we have Sexually Speaking with Dr. Kathy Naughton, bottom of the page, along with our eye candy feature. We've had some great stuff this week, another good one today. And over in the corner, our rock and roll poll question, which I'm going to get to in a minute. Normally that's where we start, but today we are starting with cheese. Here it is, folks. This is what JC has been talking about on the air for years now. There's a little place up in northern Wisconsin, a little town called Marshfield, called Foremost Farm. Okay, F-O-R-E-M-O-S-T, Foremost Farm. And this is the aged 2-pound blocks of quality Wisconsin cheddar, sharp cheddar, that I've been ordering for, it's got to be 20 years now. It's this tiny little place, and you order it right from the factory. Now, I'm going to tell you something about this. Not only is it delicious, because I put this on everything. We were having tacos the other day. You shred some of this, throw it on there. Some of Triple C's, 3 Alarm, excellent. Football chili that she starts making as soon as we get into football season. And you throw a big clump of shaved or grated, aged Wisconsin cheddar on top of that. You just hit it out of the park. So here's the deal. So these things come in 2-pound blocks. Now let me just say, if you tried to buy a 2-pound block of quality, aged Wisconsin sharp cheddar from one of the supermarkets here in town, 2-pound block, 30, 40 bucks maybe. If you try to buy it from one of those wine and cheese places, probably be more like 60 bucks for a 2-pound block of sharp aged Wisconsin cheddar. I will tell you that my standard sort of MO is that I buy 8 blocks of this probably twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year, depends if I give some away. Sometimes I give it as gifts. But I order 8 blocks, and with the shipping included, so the whole charge for the shipping of the whole thing, 8 blocks of this, $85. It's amazing. It's one of the great steals in all of consumerism. It's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable. So here's the deal. I'm going to tell you right now the name of the place and the number and the whole thing. But starting on Monday, we're going to have, see up in the corner there's a little tab that's blank right at the menu bar. Okay, starting on next week, that's going to be FAQ. Frequently asked questions, and a lot of stuff like the kind of camera that I use, the Sony Bloggy that I was talking about, and people are constantly emailing me or sending me Facebook messages about this stuff. That, the Wisconsin aged cheddar, all that stuff, all those things that seem to continually come up on the show, you're just going to be able to hit that and we'll have all the information. But in the meantime, for those of you who have been bugging me, and you're not bugging me, really, I actually appreciate it. Name of the place is Foremost Farm. It's in Marshfield, Wisconsin. Phone number, 715-384-5616, extension 2401. Again, Foremost Farm, Marshfield, Wisconsin, 715-384-5616, extension 2401. And you're going to ask for Marge. I'm not kidding about this. You're going to ask for Marge. And you might even want to tell her this crazy guy down in St. Louis on the radio is the one that sent you there. And again, I buy 8 blocks of the 2 pounds. I buy 8 with shipping, 85 bucks. It's steal. It's unbelievable. So go crazy, folks. Go crazy. All right, so much for that. Let's move on. Rock and roll poll question from yesterday. What do you do when you hear the tornado sirens? We had that dope from the National Weather Service who issued that obnoxious, insensitive commentary about the Joplin tornado victims and why it was actually sort of like their fault if they got killed because they sounded the alarm, and if they didn't listen to the alarm, well, then they deserve to be dead or something. I don't know if that's what he was trying. If that's the point he was trying to make. Anyhow, so we asked what happens, and it was a runaway, folks. I'm not even going to bother with the 3 other answers because 85% of you said, I might look outside, maybe turn on the radio or TV, then try to assess whether the threat looks like it will affect me. 85% of you gave that as your answer, and I think that that's fair, and I think that's what most people do. I'm not surprised that that's the answer. All right, rock and roll poll question today, a little more on the serious side. You got this guy, Troy Davis, convicted cop killer down in Georgia. Most of the witnesses, however, have recanted their testimony. There's no DNA evidence. And last night, the Supreme Court, basically said, we're not intervening in this whole thing, fry him. So he is scheduled to be executed tonight. The only problem with this is that more and more we seem to be learning that we are executing people who aren't guilty. And then you find out later, or sometimes you find out before they're executed. So that's our question, all right? Our question, how often do you think our country's criminal justice system ends up executing a person who it turns out was not guilty of the crime? Here are your choices. And I've made this interesting today because this sort of topic seems to light a fire under some people. So here are your choices. A, it happens all the time and it's absolutely scandalous. B, it only happens once in a blue moon. Or C, I'm tired of hearing bogus stories about convicted criminals being facing execution and still trying to convince people they didn't do it. Those are your three choices. Again, how often do you think we are executing the wrong person? Some of these prosecutors, district attorneys, cops, stuff like that, I don't know. Just seems to me like they want to score. And, well, I try not to influence your answers, but this is one of those ones today. By the way, we had a guy executed last night. I don't believe that this guy had the same sort of situation as this Troy Davis, where people recanted testimony and there was no evidence and stuff like that. This was a white supremacist in Texas last night. He was executed. This was his final meal that he requested. Here it is. 2 chicken fried steaks, a triple meat bacon cheeseburger, an omelet with cheese, ground beef, tomatoes, onions, bell peppers, and jalapenos, a bowl of fried okra, a pound of barbecue with a half loaf of white bread, fajitas, a meat lover's pizza, 3 root beers, 1 pint of vanilla ice cream, and a slab of peanut butter fudge with crushed peanuts. This was the rule, apparently, with these last meal requests is it's got to be something that is in the prison cafeteria that they are able to do. In other words, you can't ask for, you know, some imported caviar or something like that. I always said for my final meal, if I was facing execution, I'd say I would like a hamburger, fries, and a Coke, but make that to go. Been telling that joke since 1979 in Grand Rapids. Oh. Scarlett Johansson, is she nailing Bradley Cooper, Justin Timberlake, and Macaulay Culkin's kid brother Kieran all at the same time? Is Ryan Reynolds nailing Olivia Wilde, or is he going to marry Sandra Bullock? Hey, Pat Boone. Pat Boone is a birther. Still. He says he was in Kenya about a year ago, and he said, everybody said, well, you know, Barack Obama was born here, and so that's his justification for being a birther. And Pat Boone is nuts anyhow, because, you know, you ought to know something about misrepresentation, because all of his songs in the 1960s were stolen from black artists, and they just whitened him up like Ain't That a Shame and Tutti Frutti and Long Tall Sally. He's scum. And I hate his kid, too. You light up my life. Yeah. There's a family group, the American Family Association. They are boycotting Ben & Jerry's because of the sweaty balls flavor. I just love stuff like that. 37th season of Saturday Night Live pops up this weekend. Alec Baldwin hosting for a record-breaking 16th time. Right now he's tied with Steve Martin at 15. Most horrifying lies in the food industry. Wow, that's why you get that aged, pure Wisconsin cheddar right from the processing plant. Cracked.com. Most horrifying lies the food industry is feeding you. Number 1, some orange juice is more than a year old by the time you drink it. The meat used in frozen hamburger patties is sprayed with ammonia. And the blueberry muffin you had this morning probably didn't have any blueberries in it. Matter of fact, General Mills has a type of cereal called Total Blueberry Pomegranate. No blueberries, no pomegranates. And get this, when you see the ingredient cellulose, look for that on the label next time. Because food companies have figured out that, well, it's just a fancy word for wood pulp. It's sawdust. The food industry figured out that it adds texture to processed foods, and it's 30% cheaper than flour, and it's organic, so it won't kill you. So they're putting sawdust in your food. It's in everything from Eggo waffles to the fish fillet at McDonald's. Bill Maher might be right. Anything you buy from the supermarket is no good for you. FBI has raided 7 IHOPs in Ohio and Indiana. Authorities suspect that their Rudy Tooties are neither fresh nor fruity. Astronomers expect a massive satellite to hit Earth tomorrow. Apparently, it's being drawn to our planet by the gravitational pull from TV talk show host Wendy Williams' breasts. X Factor audition show tonight. I didn't watch that thing last night. I'm not watching American Idol anymore. All those shows start to look the same after a while. Simon Cowell spent a year telling us that this show is going to be nothing like American Idol. You turn it on, it's exactly like American Idol, right down to the judges, for Christ's sake. Charlie's Angels series premiere tonight, and Whitney. Finally, we get to see Whitney. She's a very funny stand-up comedian. I have a friend in New York who's very close friends with her, does some work with her and stuff like that, so we might have her on the show. Later on today, if you're listening to the Big 550 KTRS at 2:15, we have Chris D'Elia, who plays her boyfriend / husband. I'm not really sure how this works. I'm going to have to ask him, but we have him on the show today at 2:15. She's very funny. I haven't seen anybody with this much energy on camera since Richard Simmons. This chick is like bouncing around all over the place, but she's funny. Let's see if she can pull it off. We've been seeing the promos now for a year. Letterman tonight, Sofia Vergara. You think that Conan got busted for staring into the cleavage of Nicole Scherzinger the other night? What do you see what Dave gets caught doing? Be interesting. You know how old you are? Old enough to see Scott Baio turn 51. He was Chachi. He used to nail Pamela Anderson and Heather Locklear. It's just not fair. Today's the last full day of summer. It feels like it, too. It feels like we're in mid-November out there. The temperature is almost 60 degrees, but it feels damp and chilly, and I'm wearing a fleece here today. 94 days until Christmas, 94. All right, JC's Eye Candy today. Get out of here. Chaz Bono, when she was still a girl, and Jennifer Aniston, before she had her nose job, together in the same photo in high school. That's right, JC's Eye Candy. Look at it right now. Check that out. All right, rock and roll poll question. Again, we got this guy who's going to be fried tonight down in Georgia. They say he killed a cop. Other people say, no, he didn't. So how often are we executing the wrong person? Please answer our rock and roll poll question in the corner. We have a running total sort of during the show on the Big 550 KTRS every day from noon until 3, along with Trish Gazelle. Trish's Trash. Oh, and by the way, go to the KTRS.com website and you can see us do the trash now a couple of days a week. We have video. They have cameras mounted up in the studio, and you can watch me and Trish and Dan Strauss do Trish's Trash. So that's on KTRS.com. Also on our Facebook page, The Showgram with J.C. Corcoran. The Showgram with J.C. Corcoran on Facebook. But how often are we frying the wrong guy? Answer that rock and roll poll question, and we'll have results for you tomorrow. And on the Big 550 KTRS. That's it. JC's Daily Dose for Thursday, September 22nd, 2011. A combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. And in the meantime, we've beaten this one to death. Have a good one. See you later. Bye.